All right, ladies and gentlemen, I do apologize for not posting a video yesterday. There was a personal emergency I had to take care of towards the end of the day, but all is good. We are back, and I am excited to be here again. So let's dive in. I hope you guys had a wonderful day today, and once again, welcome to our end of the market update. So we keep on hovering within the highs of in the markets, right? And that's pretty much how it's been for the past few days. Now, what does that mean? It could go either way. So let me just hide this. We're gonna review the S&P and the Nasdaq, and then some individual charts where we took some trades today. So I'm gonna hide all of our indicators here and accounts, and I want to show you guys something. Okay, so what I'm afraid of is that this zone here, right, is that if we did in fact let me backtrack. If we did in fact move up higher into the wave 1, right, then obviously we are expecting wave 2 to come down. So you see this pattern here. You see how this has been developed. Now, this is the fear I have. This is called, well, not yet because it hasn't developed yet, but an island reversal. So what does this mean? Let me show you. See, this is the beauty about just erasing everything and then just going back into the history. So if I take you back, let me go to the 4-hour time frame, okay, and I'll show you what that means and what we could potentially be faced with. Here it is. So back in, let me move this out the way. Back in June, right, we gapped up. Let me zoom in here. Actually, now let me turn on these things here. We gapped up, okay, and a similar price structure. Even if I take it down to the 1-hour time frame, we're doing the similar things. We thought that this was a healthy consolidation after we gapped up in the highs, right, and that we were going to continue higher. And what ended up happening was that we instead, after this big gap up here, we consolidated for a few days, and then boom, we dropped, right? And it took us a few days to go back and fill this whole gap, right? So it took us a few days to go back up, eventually going into all new highs in the S&P. Now, what does that mean for us today? It doesn't really mean much. It doesn't mean that we're gonna do that, but it is suggesting that we are sort of facing ourselves with that scenario, which is why, you know, I do want to enter a trade in the S&P, but given that particular case, I'm not too sure at the moment. I want to see for the price action. So let's take a look, right? So if I'm just gonna delete this for us right now. If you know, I'm worried about this gap. Obviously, it's clear. That's the elephant in the room. So if this was off the March lows, right, after wave 2 was completed, if this is wave 1, right, and now we're going to be looking into wave 2 to then go up into wave 3, 4 and 5 and so on, right, I do anticipate that we should be able to gap down at the very least in the wave A of 2, right, which falls in the vicinity of the 23.6 to the 38.2 retracement of this overall wave 1 advance. So we can count 5 waves in here, all right, and call this wave 1. So right, let's count 1 2 3 4, and then an extended 5th wave. Although this extended 5th wave seems to be a little bit sketchy, right, it does fit within the guidelines, and it does fit within price structure and fit ratio. So that's the case, right? So if this is in fact wave 1, right, and we continue sideways eventually until some catalyst, external news or some economic or something, whatever, outside of the market, not outside of the market, but you know what I'm trying to say. If something is negative towards the market, then we could potentially be faced with a scenario such this, where this is called an island reversal. So we gap down and we consolidate to eventually go higher. Now, you know, say for instance this was that count, right? This would be, you know, it's a similar thing, right? So 1 2 3 4 and then 5, and then A, B, and C for wave. So for instance, if it's in the other side, this is wave 1, this is wave 2, and then off to the races we go in wave 3. So that could be faced exactly the same situation that we have here, all right, where we went up in one. All right, let me draw this again. We went up, we went up in one, down in two, right? A, B, C down in two, and then off to the races into wave three. Now, if that's not the count, right? If that's not the case, which, you know, essentially gaps have to get filled. I hope that this is the case. I hope that we see a gap down to fill this gap. Because if not, then we continue higher. Then that means that at some point, we are going to see this gap to get filled, all right? Eventually. And that is not healthy to leave gaps behind. So as you can see here, we had a gap down, filled it, gap down, filled it. I could go on and on, gap down, and then a few days later or weeks later we were able to fill it. Hey, here's another example of the island reversal, right? So we gapped up, island, gap down. All right, so that, again, that's not to say that it's what is going to happen to us in the coming days, but it is good to look at the history, right? It is good to look at what's printed in the past to outline certain patterns and anticipate them. So if that's the case, again, I'm going to repeat this. So if this is wave one, all right, if this is wave one, then we got to get a 3-wave pullback or a gap down in the wave A, right? Because wave A's are usually made up of 5 subways, or an accelerated gap, which what we had here. All right, we gap down, we back test it and go lower on the wave 2, and then we filled the remaining 2 gaps, right? Because obviously if there is a gap down, there will be another gap there, which means that the wave 3 advance is it's gonna fill those 2 gaps, right? Alternatively, if that's not the case, then this is the count. I'm gonna redraw it for us, right? So this is wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. We're down in 4, and we have one more leg up. All right, that's what I'm looking at. So wave 4, right? So for instance, wave 4 would be this. Where is wave 4 support? So if we take an extension on wave 2 to wave 3, right? We'll notice that wave 4 could potentially give us a little bit of another leg down to at the very least the 23.6%. All right, and so, or even so, even if this is the case, you see what I'm talking about. So even if the wave 4 is a little bit, what do I call it? A little bit of a sideways, but see, per the guideline of alternation, see this wave here, how this wave 2 was sort of directional. Guideline of alternation states that if wave 2 or wave 4, whichever is directional, the other wave has to be in a sideways fashion. So that's what we have. So maybe we'll just get another little bit pullback here into the 23.6 support before we go on higher. All right, guys. So that's what I see for now. I am still on the sidelines for the index, letting you guys know. So, but if you're in the Discord, you'll know. In the Discord group, we've been tracking this count diligently, waiting a little bit. You know, we anticipated that perhaps the pullback was going to come sooner, but it didn't. So we should be waiting just a little bit longer to see what's going to develop. For those of you who are not in the Discord group, I do have the link in the description where you could just sign up for free. It will be a limited time now, as we're growing relatively quick. So I do want you to be part of this group. If you're in there prior to the upcoming changes, your status will remain as it is. So that is something for you guys to keep an eye on. So again, the description is down below. Sign up for free, join our growing community, and we'll love to have you guys there. And also consider subscribing and hitting that thumbs up on this video so that content like this gets put out there and I can help others like you. Anyway, so back to the markets. Moving on to the NDX. So the NDX also has 3 gaps, and that's another little bit of concern. However, the way I see this is that we've went up in 1, down in 2. We're now going in 3, which has been met in the 1618 extension of wave 2. Sorry, of this wave of wave 1 versus 2, and we got wave 3 here. So we met with resistance. We're now pulling back into wave 4. So wave 4 has not completed yet. Let's see where wave 4 should finish if this was taken from here. Actually, wave 4 excuse me, wave 4 came into what appears to be the 23.6% retracement and found some sort of support. And where does that fall within any price history in the past? Let's take a look. Let's draw a line of support and we can tell if this was pretty, yeah, okay. So we had, let me take this tool here. We had support there, which is in confluence with what we are looking at. So support there, support here, resistance and support in these zones. So as you can see, right, this is what I'm talking about. So eventually we had a bit of a island reversal in this zone, all right, and this gap has been filled now with the price action that happened today. So what does that mean? So it means that we could potentially see another leg higher into the finish of the wave 3, which we can anticipate go to the 2618 extension of this wave 1 versus wave 2, which takes us to this levels, at which point we can expect a relatively I'd say a sideways pullback, right, in the wave 4, because again, like in the S&P, we have this sort of directional correction in the wave 2, and that wave 2 needs to be squared up, or at least be met with the alternate guideline, the guideline of alternation in the wave 4, which should be, you know, sideways in nature. All right, so do anticipate perhaps we get another leg higher, and then just potentially fall back into the wave 4 to go up higher. What worries me, however, is that these gaps need to get filled. So at some point we are going to see a pullback, all right, and even if it's, for instance, if we were to call this wave 3, which I don't think that's the case because we haven't finished the 5-way structure here, we were to pull back down into the wave 4 support, all right, we'll close this gap. And so I don't think that would be the case, because again, that would mean that this wave 2 would not be squared up with this wave 4, because at that point we need to see further downside to fill this other gap down here. So the Nasdaq is getting me a little sketchy at the moment, so just because of these two gaps that need to get filled. Alternatively, we are going to be keeping our eyes open for any overhead resistance, which you can see that it's coming up relatively quick at the 2618, which is the wave the wave 3 support, the wave 3 resistance. There you go. Okay guys, so again, these are key levels that we must watch. Okay, we must watch the high, the previous high. We must watch this 1618 for any continued resistance before we break higher into the 2618, which comes in at the 13,813. Once this is printed and finalized, we can anticipate we'll take another look to see where wave 4 could finish. Okay guys, so these are the levels that we must have our eyes open for. I think we could delete this, we don't need it anymore. All right, so that's what I'm looking at for these two indices, the Nasdaq and the S&P. Now let me take you over to our trade for today. We took a trade on Uber, all right, and Uber has me, it's not a big concern at the moment, right? I took this trade, we took it in the group, and the way I see the wave count right now is that we went up in 1 and down in 2. Actually, let me take you back real quick. After this sideways correction for about, let's take a look, for about, I'm just going to eyeball it, roughly, if it ended here, about 70 days. You know, 1 down in A, up in B, 3 waves down in C, 3 waves up in D, 3 waves down in E, and now we have 1 and 2. We went up in 3. We had a flat correction up in A, B, and C to correct into the wave 4. Now, this is the game plan, guys, for Uber. I decided to pull the trigger on Uber because it reached the 50% retracement of overall wave from wave 2 to wave 3, right? So wave 3, 50% retracement, which falls at the 55, excuse me, spot 82, which, as you can see here, was spot on, right? So if I move this out the way, we found some support there. Now, this is giving us a relatively shallow risk, okay? So anything beyond the extreme of wave 1, which invalidates this count, is around 1.32%, all right? So if we were to see Uber, right, drop below this extreme, then obviously this invalidates the wave count. So if that's the case, let me show you guys what I think might be the case. So when I extended this line, all right, this overhead resistance downtrend line, right, you notice that it originated here and now is acting as resistance, and once again we went up and retested it but failed to break out of it. Now if this is not the wave count, okay, if we end up breaking the extreme of wave 1, then I am going to shift everything one swing over, okay, and we are not done just yet with the triangle. So this would be 3 waves. So again, triangles are made up of 3 waves. So 1, 2, and 3 into A, 1, 1, 2, and 3 into wave B, 1, 2, and 3. Sorry, 1, 2, and 3 into wave C, 1, 2, and 3. Actually, no, this would be wave here. Sorry, A, B, C, D, and E. Yeah, E will still be here. A, 1, 2, and 3. So there we go. So A, B, C, D, and E, 1, 2, and 3, and we'll have another leg lower into somewhere in the vicinity of the $54 range. So until we don't break any of these levels, until we don't break any of these levels, so if we don't break 50, we don't break let's say wherever wave E ends, right, if we don't go beyond these levels, then Uber should still be on the bullish count. So again, if we maintain ourselves within this price here, right, until we continue to just bounce around it, eventually we're just going to break out, okay, if that was in the wave count. All right, so that's the way I see Uber happening now, which I do think that we will start seeing some potential moves. You know, wave 4 potentially was completed here, A, B, and C, and then we ramp up higher. So that's the relatively, either way, we'll know relatively soon. Let's take a look at Palantir, PLTR. Palantir, I have not taken a trade. I have not been able to, because so Palantir looks, you know, it's very hard to start labeling new issues. So if I take you over to the daily time frame, right, you see that there is not a lot of history to base ourselves in the wave count. So the way I see that is that we went up in 5 waves to complete wave 1. Wave 2 has yet to be completed. So this could either be A or 1, B or 2, and we will potentially see one more leg higher. But if the case is that this is wave 2, let me zoom out, then we went down in 5 waves down in A. We're now printing A, B, and we should be able to see at the very least a retest beyond the extreme of wave A, at least at the 29 to the 30. All right. Ambitious is to go up to the 78.6, but at the very least we go to the 50%. So again, so if this was wave 1, so we printed 5 waves down, A, B, and C for this flat. So A, B, and C into A, 1, 2, and 3, A, B, and C into wave B. All right, at which point, once this wave B is completed, then I will consider a trade, but down to the downside. Until we complete wave B, I won't be able to project where wave C up to will complete. So that is my interpretation for Palantir. I know we've been tracking this for some time, and it's been just doing nothing. But if this is the case, we should anticipate a little bit of upside coming into the following days. Let's take a look. Amazon, AMZN. Amazon, we took this trade in our group. We did anticipate the bottom of wave 2, okay, and now we're moving up higher into wave 3. So up in 1, down in 2, 3, 4, and now we're looking to finish wave 5 of 3. If any of us missed this trade, just wait until we anchor wave 3 to potentially finish wave 4, so that we can take advantage of wave 5. So Amazon looks pretty good. Uber looks pretty good. Palantir looks okay. I'm not taking the trade there just yet. I will wait for the downside. Another chart that caught my eye was DraftKings, DKNG. DraftKings looks pretty weak at the moment. So what I'm going to anticipate is that off the October highs, down in wave A, up in wave B, A, B, and C, and now we're printing 5 waves down into wave C. So 1, 2, wave 2 should finish anywhere between the 50 to the 78.6%, at which point I will probably consider a put option for this, maybe a spread. Who knows? Let's just wait and see what happens. So all right, so that's what's happening here. Okay, so just to recap real quick, we're going to wait for price action to tell us if this is an island reversal, if we're going to gap down or continue higher on the S&P, and for the Nasdaq, we're just going to wait to see potentially if wave 4 was completed here to take us higher into the wave 3 or wave 5 or 3. All right, guys, so once again, thank you so much for your time. I do appreciate that. I do apologize for yesterday not having a video, but again, family emergency. Yeah, let me take a look at my notes. There's nothing else that, oh, the minutes were released today from the Fed meeting, but that's what drove us a little higher today. All right, so again, guys, I have the link in the description below for you guys to join for free our Discord group, which is a growing community at the moment. And yeah, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and I shall see you in the video tomorrow. Take care, guys. Bye bye.